Good afternoon, everybody. As you say, I'm new to the job, so I'm claiming the usual fool's pardon for anyone in that position. Give me about 5 years and I might find out what I'm doing. Declan, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And could I thank Joe and everyone at Bryson for the opportunity to speak at this event today. Now, looking at the original programme, I'm sure some of you will be expecting to hear from my predecessor, Dr. Mark Brown, at this point. Mark can't be with us, but I'm pleased to say that that's for a very good reason. He's transferred on promotion to Permanent Secretary at the Department for Education. And I'm sure that those of you who know Mark and his many years of dedicated service in this area will join me in acknowledging his outstanding contribution and wishing him well in his new role. But it's now my privilege to have succeeded him a few weeks ago in this role as the Director responsible for racial equality and good relations in the Executive Office. And I'm delighted to be here today in that capacity. For any of you who know me, you will know that on this type of occasion, I try not to simply repeat the words of ministers. So some of what I have to say today is a personal view and not necessarily executive policy. But let me start with something that I know ministers will fully endorse, and that is that the Executive Office is delighted to have been able to support the DARE project. And I would like to congratulate the organisers of this very stimulating and thought-provoking event. I was able to catch most of this morning's discussion and learned a great deal from it. As policymakers, we're constantly searching for the best evidence to inform what we do. And the value of an event like this is that it brings together in one place, I think, three key strands of evidence. So we've heard from those involved in academic research and evaluation. We've heard the insight and experience of expert practitioners. And perhaps most valuable of all, we've heard the lived experience of people. And I say that because even in this modern world of Zoom and data analytics, the lived experience of people is surely the ultimate test of what we do as policymakers. For me, taking up post as director is a sort of homecoming because it marks a return to an area of policy that I've worked in before, but a long time ago, back in 2000 to 2006, in my first spell in the Executive Office. And with that in mind, I'm going to interpret the title of this session, Reflections Looking Forward, with a degree of license, so forgive me for that. I'll take it as an invitation to look at past and present, comparing where we were back in 2000 with where I think we are now, and perhaps more importantly, with where I think we need to go and what we still need to do. Back in 2000, the Executive was a fledgling administration, and I must say I was also a much younger man. Back then, there was an overwhelming sense of positivity and goodwill for what we were trying to achieve. And in sharp contrast with where we are now, there was plenty of money to spend on doing it. So in that favourable climate, we took our first faltering and perhaps naive steps towards promoting racial equality. The context then was, of course, dominated by the need to preserve the hard-won peace agreement. And if I look back with a critical eye, whilst there was a strong emphasis on equality, human rights, and anti-discrimination, I think there were two key shortcomings in what we tried to do. Firstly, the agenda tended to be dominated by binary considerations of orange and green. Now, I know that there's an ongoing debate over whether that is still the case, and you heard some views on that earlier this morning. If it is still the case, then I don't seek to try and defend that or excuse it, but I do understand the cause. The roots of our conflict run deep, and I think it's no surprise that they have an enduring effect on the policy agenda. But whatever the case now, I think few would doubt that back in 2000, we just didn't have enough focus on the multidimensional and rapidly evolving nature of the community and society in Northern Ireland. The second shortcoming was that I think our level of ambition was sometimes too low. So we focused on tackling discrimination, but not enough on positively promoting equality of opportunity. We focused on tackling the outward manifestations of racism, but not enough on the underlying causes and the entrenched attitudes. And we sometimes settled for tolerance of diversity, instead of striving to embrace and celebrate it. In short, I don't think we had a clear vision back then that every aspect of society, civic, economic, and cultural, is strengthened by diversity and enriched by the unique contributions of people of differing race and ethnicity. But let me assure you, that is very much our vision now. I believe we've come a long way since then, but clearly we still have a long way still to travel. And if I look at the picture today, I firstly want to take a few moments to acknowledge what I see as some of the main achievements of the DARE project since 2017. Some of the numbers speak for themselves. So over 2,600 people have engaged in training and events, and training has been delivered on diversity, good relations, civic leadership, and contentious cultural issues. And you heard some of the practice earlier this morning. And I offer my congratulations to everyone who took part and received their level 2 qualifications. However, there are also other less tangible, but just as valuable benefits beyond the numbers. I know that the first and most important priority for Bryson and Tide's training was to build relationships with all of our different communities in Northern Ireland. This was absolutely critical to the success of the project, as the participants needed to develop good relationships, not only with each other, but with those delivering the project. And the mutual trust and respect of participants had to be the foundation on which the project was built. Another very important element of the project was the establishment of the community champions from BME communities. This was critical to inform the project content, and it also leaves a legacy, as those champions will continue to represent BMA communities. Now, we in the civil service see the value of that concept of champions to increase awareness and provide a greater understanding of the needs and contribution of those whom they represent. And at foot of that, I'm very pleased to say that we now have a racial equality champion in every department of the executive. And I believe that a clear legacy from the DARE project will be that participants will now feel empowered to influence the agenda that I'm involved in setting, and also have the tools and skills to use that influence to get involved in their community and create the change that they and we want to see. I also believe that the work that the executive is doing has been transformed from what it was back in 2000. I want to reiterate the executive's commitment to tackling racial inequalities in Northern Ireland and to ensuring that there is genuine equality of opportunity for all. We all want to see racism and hate crime eradicated and the promotion of good relations across all communities. There are a number of important strands to that work, and I trust that you'll indulge me if I list some of the programs and projects that my team are very proud to deliver. Starting with Together Building a United Community, or TBUC as we usually call it. That strategy sets out the executive's vision for a united community based on equality of opportunity, good relations, and reconciliation. And in the executive office, through all of the work that we deliver and the projects like DARE that we support, we're working to make that vision a reality. And a key element of TBUC is our racial equality strategy. It establishes a framework for government departments and other agencies to tackle racial inequalities, eradicate racism and hate crime, and along with TBUC, to promote good race relations and social cohesion. And we've made good progress in the delivery of the strategy with the establishment of the racial equality champions. And we've also established a racial equality subgroup to function as a clear, strong voice, advising government and others on the issues affecting minority ethnic people, migrants, and race relations. On legislation, we've reviewed the race relations order, and we're now preparing options for enhancing that legislation. And we've also completed some research into the feasibility of introducing ethnic monitoring. We also provide over £1.2 million of funding each year for the Minority Ethnic Development Fund to support voluntary and community organisations working with minority ethnic people and groups. Forgive me for that long list. All of those strategies and policies are, of course, very important. But as I said earlier, this is about people. And there's one particular strand of work that I know the team found particularly rewarding, and that's the Syrian refugee scheme. We're very proud to have welcomed 1,815 refugees from Syria. And as a department, we've heard directly from a number of those people, and their stories have resonated very powerfully with us. And they've directly informed the development of a draft refugee integration strategy, which we'll shortly consult on. I can think of no better example of lived experience having driven the development of policy. The First and Deputy First Ministers have shown their personal commitment to ensuring that all citizens in Northern Ireland are respected in the New Decade, New Approach document. And they have agreed to sponsor and oversee a framework to recognise and celebrate Northern Ireland's diversity of identities and cultures and to accommodate cultural difference. And drawing my remarks to a conclusion, I hope you'll agree with me that our vision, ambition and delivery have come a long way since 2000. And I'm very proud of the work that the team that I have inherited in TEO is doing. But that's tempered by a candid recognition that we still have a great deal to do. And in preparing today, I was reflecting on a conversation a few weeks ago with a key stakeholder about the new programme for government, the development of which is another hat that I wear. And she asked me a question that was at the same time very challenging and very inspiring when she said, when do we stop being newcomers? When someone has made their home here, worked here, raised a family here, when do we stop treating them as outsiders? And I think that's absolutely the right question going forward. To be truly free of racism, to be truly multicultural, we must do more than ensure that needs are met and rights upheld. Doing those things is necessary but not sufficient. We must not define people merely in terms of what we perceive to be their needs. We must look beyond that and see the contribution that they make. Our goal must be to ensure that everyone who lives here feels empowered to contribute to every facet of society, economic, cultural, and civic. Now, that is very challenging, but it can be done. One of the DARE cultural and community champions said, I like the will of the people in Northern Ireland. They're working to build their society, and I feel that I have this opportunity to share in building the society that I have chosen to live in. This is the place I can prove myself and reach my goals. Working well with the community will empower me more. For me, I like to be part of this wonderful active team because I believe in their vision and challenges. Our goal must be to make that lived experience common to everyone in Northern Ireland. In finishing, may I just answer a point that Joe made earlier on about the importance of dialogue and taking the opportunity of that dialogue to inform the development of the programme for government. On behalf of the Executive Office, I welcome that, and the answer is yes, please. Perhaps we could take that up offline and ensure that we build the opportunity for that dialogue in. And may I finish once again simply by congratulating Bryce and Kerr, their partners in Tides Training, and the Donegal Intercultural Platform, and all of those who helped deliver this project, and all of those who have taken part. In the few short weeks that I've been in post, your work has inspired me, and I look forward to working with you in the years ahead. Thank you very much.